think Will is standing by at the Clayton Hotel. It used to be the Burlow. How are you, Will?
Good. How are things, Owen and Ger?
What's the crack? This Tipperary team have been known to enjoy themselves, it's fair to say. So are many of them down early at the breakfast buffet, lashing into their eggs and sausages?
I haven't seen a single Tipperary player or management out. I saw some videos on Snapchat and Instagram last night of players still celebrating at 4:30 in the morning. Understandable when they won their first All-Ireland in 3 years. It's mainly supporters with pretty sore heads who are leaving the Burlington early this morning, getting ready, of course, for the home of hurling to welcome back the Liam McCarthy later on when it goes to Semple Stadium this evening. And if it's anything like the scenes in 2016 where they absolutely packed the place out, it's going to be a remarkable crowd, I think, there tonight, lads. So
just explain what their itinerary is for today. Obviously, they'll break up into little bits of dribs and drabs of groups and do different things. Some of them will go to the kids' hospital, they always do.
Yeah.
And then is there a scheduled time? Are they getting the train down? Are they getting the bus down? What happens?
Yeah, traditionally they get the train back down to Thurles, which works out quite nicely because you can pretty much walk from Thurles down to Semple Stadium, then afterwards from the train station. So I'm still waiting just for a time that they're due back in, but usually it's kind of 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening. Then they'll go back for a hell of a party in Semple Stadium in Tom Semple's field after that. As you say, obviously some players will go along to the Children's Hospital in Crumlin, as is tradition. They'll bring the Liam McCarthy there to see the kids later on this morning. We'll see how early they get out for breakfast. We're hoping to chat to some of the players and maybe Liam Sheedy a little bit later on in the programme as well. But, you know, remarkable enough success yesterday. The biggest ever defeat for Brian Cody in an All-Ireland final. And, you know, Tipperary just put on the afterburners, particularly just after half-time, after that Richie Hogan sending off. So it's amazing how Seamus Callanan and Bubbles O'Dwyer didn't score in the first half, and they were entirely held up by the Kilkenny defence. Once that space opened, once Kilkenny dropped down to 14, they ran off 2 goals and 7 points in that first 16 minutes of the second half. So we often talk about their forward line being assassins, and going into the game we were saying if Tipperary gets space and if it gets wide open, there's no way Kilkenny are winning this All-Ireland, and that's exactly the way it played out. They were lethal in that stage just after half-time. Callan and Bubbles scored 2-2 between them from 4 possessions early in the second half. So every chance they got, they took, Ger.
Yeah, Bubbles looked a bit like Maher. I thought there was one of the points he scored where he just kind of wandered out, flicked his hips, turned around, hit it over the bar, and you're like, ooh, this is there's a centre of gravity there you don't often see in Irish people. Will, before I go now, obviously we'll be back to you as you try and roust some people from their slumber. The Jubilee team was the Offaly team of '94 from the final against Limerick, the 5-minute final where they scored a 2-6 to win the game by 6 points, having been 5 down. My maths aren't great there.
Let's remember, Limerick only scored 3 points in the entire second half. As an Offaly person, it's always remembered for the goals that Offaly scored, particularly the 2 quick-fire ones after Johnny Dooley's free. But remember, Limerick only scored 3 points in that second half. So it wasn't entirely down to just Offaly doing the smash and grab. No, the defence was sensational because obviously they had one of the greatest hurlers of all time. But it was great to see that team yesterday, and they all looked so well. Yeah, fantastic. I mean, I think they're a lot of the 90s teams are fairly beloved. Like Clare are going to get a hell of a reception next year. Their team that made the breakthrough from 95 are the Jubilee team next year. But that Offaly team, particularly back at home, are remembered extremely fondly because they were the breakthrough team for the best part that won a National League title, had been really good at underage level, got to a final in 94, maybe didn't play all that well, played a lot better in the final in 95 and lost. But it felt like a huge breakthrough win, first one since the 80s. And yeah, I think there's a lot of characters in that team, the likes of Johnny Pilkington, Brian Wheelahan, who were extremely fondly remembered. And it was great to see them get a big reception out in the pitch after the minor game yesterday. And the only scary part is, I remember being a kid on the terrace watching that final, and it makes you feel extremely old when you realise they're the Jubilee team. Yeah, that's been happening to me now for a couple of years, Will. Don't worry about it, you'll get used to it. All right, we'll talk to you later, Will. Thanks a million. Will down at the Burlow, and I mean, my hopes for him to be able to get us somebody alive and Compass Mentis by 9:30 are slim.
Did you see many Tipp fans wandering the streets of Dublin this morning? I saw 8. One Tipp fan in particular had a 2-litre jug of milk in his hand, half drank, at 5:30, 5:45 this morning. You know, there's a logic to that. Well, if you're actually in the mood to actually drink that amount of milk at that point in the morning, then really what are you doing actually outside of Coppers at that point? You really are probably still in a state of mind to still be there. Is it going to come back up fairly soon? I don't know. I didn't get that far. I didn't hang around to look to see what the next step in his journey was. Yeah. All right, let's cross straight over to the Tipperary team hotel. Will O'Callaghan is standing by with a couple of Tipperary players. Will, take it away.
Hi, Ger and Owen. Welcome back to the Burlington. 2 of the guys that have had to get up early to do the media duties are Maher and Niall. Good morning to you, lads. Well, look, Niall, I'll come to you first on this one because you scored a goal in an All-Ireland final. What's the feeling about getting number 28 for the Premier now?
Yeah, it's unbelievable, I suppose. Tipp have a great hurling tradition. We talked last week about history. We just wanted to make our own bit of history. And I suppose yesterday, we played Tipp hurling for the whole game, and it took a while to get going, but we did. And in the second half, we really opened up, and yeah, we're really happy with the performance. I think Eamon O'Shea's fingerprint was all over it again. He had the work rate that Liam Sheedy expects you to bring. So I think our whole management team, that performance summed up what they brought to us this year.
Well, look, I think the expectation for a lot of us going into the game is that Kilkenny were going to try and constrain the space, make it difficult for you as a forward line. Was it difficult in that first half to try and get decent ball in? To me, it seemed like obviously after Richie was sent off, the space opened up. But that first half was a bit of a war of attrition, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think a lot of games start like that because I suppose it's tight and teams don't want to be giving another team too much of a start. And I suppose when it started raining, then it was that extra bit hard. The boys were coming out to the ball and they were slipping and it wasn't sticking. So I suppose it took time, as you say, to break them down. You know, Kilkenny are a serious outfit, and we've experienced that throughout the years. But I suppose the second half, the boys stayed in a bit deeper, and the ball coming in was probably coming in from midfield, which makes it easier. It doesn't have to travel as far. So, yeah, it took a while to break them down, but thankfully we didn't. I suppose we got a couple of early goals second half to really give us the momentum.
Yeah, I mean, that spell was incredible. 15-60 minutes, you ran off 2 goals and 7 points. That was the win of the game, really, that quarter of the game.
Yeah, I suppose the hurling, some of the scores, they were unbelievable. I think it was Bubbles' goal. I think it was just top class. The ball across from Shane, he was unreal first touch and bang. So that just gives, yourself, when you get a goal like that, it gives everyone a massive lift. I think the whole team was buzzing off it, and it helped us drive on. And at the back, in fairness, Kilkenny rained a lot of ball down, and Barry Heffernan and Ronan Maher, the backs probably never really get the credit they should, but they were unbelievable yesterday.
Well, look, I thought both Heffernan and Ronan Maher were incredible in both the semi-final and the final. Having that extra bit of protection behind you, I'm sure, helps you as a forward line as well.
Yeah, I suppose, look, in fairness, from training, the 2 boys are serious in the air, and they're also, deceivingly fast, so any ball you get off them is hard won. So I suppose yesterday they really showed that, they come out with ball after ball there, and they were just offloading to the right man. We really just used the ball well there, similar to the Wexford game. We started using the ball very well in the start of the second half, and it kind of gave us the foundation to push forward.
Bonner, I guess so frustrating for you. I mean, fantastic to win a third All-Ireland title, but you would have loved to have been fit and involved yesterday.
Yeah, of course you would. All-Ireland final days, what you dream for and where you want to get to. But look, I was delighted for the group yesterday, and I think they really showed through grit and the performance followed with the work that they put in since November last year. So me personally, it was a bit disappointing, but from the group I was absolutely delighted with how the boys carried themselves and conducted their operation yesterday. And to come out on top with such a good performance and such a good win against Kilkenny was a great outcome.
Yeah, I suppose, does it make it any more special you've beaten one of your great rivals there? And I think there's a very respectful rivalry between the two counties.
Yeah, it's a great rivalry. The gloves come off really when Tipp and Kilkenny go at each other, and it brings the best out of both sides and both teams. And there's been some tremendous battles over the year. And we've came on the wrong end of some of them, but it's nice to come out on the right side of a few of them as well.
Yeah, because I think he lost 10 out of 13 against Brian Cody managed Kilkenny teams in Championship, and now you've beaten them by 9 and 14 points in All-Ireland finals. Maybe you're just kind of shaken off where they were a bit of a bogey team for you as well.
Sure, it's these kind of rivalries, they ebb and flow. Sometimes Kilkenny, when they were on top, they were a superb team. They were going for 5 in a row. That's a serious achievement. And we've an awful lot of youth coming through there, and there's a good mixture there in the 40-man panel at the moment. I think Tipperary are in a good place and they're driving forward at the moment, which is good for Tipp.
Well, I was looking at your bench, and there's so many lads there involved still in the under-20 team going for an All-Ireland title as well. Potentially they get a double. Some of those guys come on and made a big impression when they came on too.
Of course they did, and the All-Ireland winning under-21 team last year, there's a few boys like Ger Brown came on and scored a point. And these boys are really pushing hard, which is great to see, and it makes our job a little bit harder. Those older boys that are running out of speed in the legs, but it's great for Tipperary, and come the weekend as well with the under-20s going on to play Cork and Limerick. It's great for Tipperary hurling. And it's great to have these younger boys coming into the panel because they add so much. It's great to have such a good mixture of young and experience there. I think it's a big plus for Tipperary.
I want to ask you both about Sheedy. I'll ask you first about it, Bonner. What's the difference that he's made? Because last year was a big disappointment for you. You didn't get out of your province. I know Munster is very difficult, but you had to watch knockout from the stands and from the TV compared to going up the steps of the Hogan stand yesterday. What has Liam brought to the party for you this year?
Liam is a special guy. He's a real motivator. like he's just real good at getting the right people in to do the right jobs. And like, so you look at our back room there, like we had 27 guys in the back room, and every single one of them 27 guys brought something special to the table. Like, and like that's the professionalism that Liam really brings, and the drive that Liam brings. He gets the top of the top in to do the jobs, and like I think it just showed like everything from strength and conditioning to nutrition. Like there was not a box ticked. Like every 1%er that could be got was got, and that's what Liam brings. Liam just brings that elite level like to the team, and I think you could see it yesterday, like from the performance as well. Like, you know.
Well, Shane McGrath was saying to us off the ball last week that, you know, Liam is not afraid to bring guys in. Like your doctor's even an accomplished former inter-county player. That's the standard of backroom team you have. You've got Eamon, you've got Tommy, you know, top coaches, former managers as well. That's a hell of a management setup that Liam put together.
Yeah, well, I guess, you know what, I actually was reading Brendan Maher's article yesterday, and he said how he nearly cried when Liam left in 2010, and I was just, at the start of the year, the boys were telling me how good he was, and like obviously I hadn't experienced, but he leaves, there's no minor detail left untouched, like, and I think that's really counts. It's all the small parts joined together to make the jigsaw puzzle, you know. He brought in Eamon, I think back in February or March around the league, added a new dimension. Tommy and Dara had done unbelievable work, as you know, like in terms of coaching, and they had picked different things they wanted to work on that they weren't happy with last year. So they analysed, we'll say, 2018's championship and said we need to do this, this and this to get competitive again. And that was kind of the building point, because they knew exactly where we wanted to go and how we wanted to get there. And I think that made so much of a difference. Like, and I suppose with Liam, like, what you see is what you get. If you're pulling your weight, he'll do everything he can for you. And I think everyone bought into that. And you know, I suppose Eamon's my own club man in Killarwan. He worked with us last year, and we got a series. Suppose we won our first North final in 20 years. Like, and I suppose he brought the same energy. He brings the same energy everywhere. He's just a serious hurling man. Like, if he has, I suppose, different way of looking at the game. And once you can see it, it just makes it easy.
In terms of the hurling landscape at the moment, this must be fairly exciting as a player. You've had 3 different champions over the last 3 years, 2 and 4 for you guys. You know, obviously, next year it looks like an absolutely wide open championship. Even we've seen this year Kilkenny coming back to the fore after 3 years away. Is it exciting just facing into another year, even when we're 24 hours after winning the title?
Do you know what? It's so competitive, isn't it? That you have 9 or 10 teams there that I suppose, and I give they can beat anybody. You've seen it. Like, say, Dublin had done a very good Leinster Championship, got bet by Laois. You know, Laois probably didn't get the credit they deserved when they played us. Everyone was kind of saying, tip this, tip that, but I thought Laois were very good. And then I suppose, obviously, Galway, we're looking to come back. There's so many teams that can bounce back. You know, it was like us last year, which you said last year, typically Kenny would have been in a final this year, probably not. So I think that's probably the joy of it. It's just so open. And yeah, I suppose we'll enjoy this one and then try and focus again on next year, yeah.
Well, it's still a hell of a turnaround. You lost by 11 points in the Munster final. A lot of people were very concerned about the way you defended that day as well. Like, it changed an awful lot from there. I know Laois maybe didn't quite open up the way it was meant to. You beat Wexford, you know, showing a lot of resilience to win that game as well. You did a hell of a job to bounce back from that Limerick defeat.
Yeah, I suppose with great start. Obviously, the aim was to get out of Munster first and win it, obviously. So we had the chance to win it. I think the same day, we'd given so much to the first 4 games. I suppose we didn't perform in the final, which was disappointing, but you have those days. I think every team, I don't think any team will ever go through this championship unbeaten. Yeah. And I suppose that was proven for us. If it was any day to lose, maybe the Munster final, you don't want to lose it, but I suppose it gave us a kick again to get going and really put our heads back down and get to work. So we said 3 steps to get to, I suppose, Lee McCarthy, and 1 step at a time we got there, taken by that approach. So I think that was important as well, that we obviously targeted the first day down in Cork to win it, and we did. Gave us a good start. We followed on from there, but once the Munster Championship was over, you just kind of click the reset button, because at the end of the day, everyone wants to win the Lee McCarthy. So,
Bonner, your injury, where are you at with it at the moment?
I'm about a month off surgery there, so I've surgery done about a month, so it was important to me to get back on the watt bike and stuff like that and get back training. So I got off the crutches, I'd say, after about a week and a half, and I was back on the bike, I'd say, in that time as well. So it's coming on. Very happy, very pleased. The surgeon, Ray Moore, took care of me over there in Santry, like, and top-notch job. Very happy with it, like, you know. So it'll take time, obviously. Like, the ACL is a long-term injury, like, you know. But, like, you know, the next few months will fly when you're after winning an All-Ireland. You know, you have the fire and the burn to get back as quick as you can.
I'm sure you must be looking forward to getting back to Thurles this evening and celebrating with the fans. I was there 2016. It was a hell of a party then. It would take a lot to match that.
Yeah, do you know what? I suppose 2016 was brilliant, and this will be brilliant as well. I suppose for Tipp fans as well, we're a traditional hurling county, and last year I suppose a lot of them were gutted and whatever else, so I'd say they really relish this moment, because it looked like we were going to be gone from the table for a while, but we got back, and I'm sure they'll love every minute of it like ourselves.
Honor, before I hand back to studio, how did you end up having to do media this morning? Did you lose some kind of game at 4 o'clock in the morning?
I think we were all in a function room there last night. It was just, I think we were just kind of cornered in, but sure, look, it's all part and parcel of it, like, you know, and sure, we had a good laugh this morning as well, so. Yeah.
Lads, great to talk to you. Thanks a million for coming across to chat to us this morning as well on Off the Ball and on OTB AM. Thanks a lot to both Maher and to Niall Maher there. Lads, as you can see, understandably very happy and reasonably fresh-faced after the celebrations, which I believe finished around 5 AM here in the Burlington last night.
Yeah, are they the only two up and about, Will? Is it like, did they really literally draw a short straw? It sounded like they did.
Well, Cathal Barrett is here as well, so I'm hoping to chat to Cathal in the next few minutes as well. We had Cathal, and then he got caught up with a coffee just before we came over. So they're the only three that have emerged so far. I don't think Liam Sheedy's out of bed yet either. So apparently they were saying that the PRO came up to them in the function room last night and said, right, you three are doing the media in the morning. So they really drew the short straw. I guess for Maher, at least he was injured, so you know he has to do a bit of media because of that. Poor Niall Maher scores a goal in the All-Ireland final in the 25th minute yesterday, and then gets forced to do interviews on an hour's sleep.
I think you should take the glory while you can, and they can always have a snooze this afternoon. Well, good stuff. We'll be back to you a little bit later on, especially if you manage to get your hands on Cathal Barrett. All right, let's go back over to the Tipperary Team Hotel, and Cathal Barrett is with us. Cathal, good morning to you. How you doing?
Morning, lads. How are you getting on?
Yeah, we're doing well. What kind of a night did you have?
It was quiet night.
Yeah. And
good, very good night.
How did you get press ganged into being forced to get up early this morning?
I have no idea. I'm actually wondering that myself.
You must have done something bad in the aftermath of the game. You must have done something bad. Come here, the second half. I want to talk to you about that before we talk to you about the first half. In the second half, you were on a world of ball for that first 15-20 minutes. It was kind of a dream scenario for you. What's your recollection of how well the start of the second half in particular goes for the Tipperary defence?
Yeah, it's. I don't really know, to be honest. I just kept finding the ball in front of me, which was great, you know. And so it was nice that there was no one breathing down my neck really to take it off me or anything like that for a change. And really, I don't know. I think we kind of just stuck to our process and stuck to our game plan, worked the ball out through the lines and give it into the boys and do the damage inside. The forwards are inside really, but that was probably the biggest thing. Like, just we knew like the restart was going to be a big, massive thing in the second half. We knew Kilkenny were going to come everything at us, thundering and lightning the whole lot. Like, so we knew we really need to start as quick as we could possibly.
Obviously, you know, it's not really a pre-programmed sweeper role when the opposition goes down a man and you suddenly find yourself the free man. But you seem very comfortable. Like, sometimes players get honeypotted towards the ball, or they end up double marking somebody and not really playing the role of a sweeper. But you seem very comfortable actually making sure that you would be where the ball was going to be, as opposed to getting sucked in and just being an extra body around a ball being lorried into the full back line.
Yeah, it's not my first time being a sweeper. I've done it a good few times with Tipp over the last couple of years. Like, I remember Conor Manny when he was playing full back. He didn't really let me go too far. If there was ever a sweeper, he used to be roaring at me. So it was always kept to the 21. So I probably should thank him a little for that. But no, it's just, look, I just had to play with instincts really. Like, no, you can sense the danger. You know, if Kilkenny have the ball, you know it's going in, and you just need to get back, just help our own, and look, just kind of move with the half backs and just support as much as I can and try to get on the ball. It's a cornerback stream, really, to be honest with you.
It's interesting that you say that. So when Kilkenny had the ball, you basically knew straight away that they were going route one, and then you had the efficient tools to deal with that.
Yeah, like you could see, like Kilkenny are an amazing team, like, and they have some ball winners, like, so like you knew, like, when they got the ball, they broke that tackle, you knew it was coming in. So look, it was just a matter of just supporting the boys as best I could, really.
Were you surprised that they didn't go with a different route after you were winning so much ball in the full back line?
No, really, to be honest, when you're in a battle like that and 80,000 people roaring and Kilkenny are coming on your throat, the only thing I'm thinking about really is trying to get my hands on the ball. Like, does tactics or anything like that does not come into play there. Like,
Cathal, how's the jaw this morning? Obviously, you got a bit of a belt there.
Yeah, no, the jaw is not too bad yet. No, the jaw is okay. Yeah.
You have a little mark on your mouth there? Is that connected to the tackle?
It's probably just a bit off the helmet is all, not major really. But I looked at it in regards to that, like, as I said earlier on there, look, it's like, you have to give huge credit for any man that steps out on that field, like the commitment you put in there for the last 9 months. And look, it is disappointing for someone to kind of have it taken away. Like, you're training 9 hard months for the big day, and when it's kind of taken away, it is disappointing. So look, like, you would personally, you'd feel very sorry for Richie, because look, like, you wouldn't want to see anyone's day kind of taken away. Like, but look, just not really much I can say on it. Look, the rule, I don't know what the rule is, a high tackle, but look, personally, I'd feel sorry for him, because look, I know that, like, I'd respect every man that steps on that pitch, and you know the effort they all put in, so you wouldn't like him their day to be kind of end up like that.
Yeah, in fairness, because you guys have been having quite the physical battle up to that point. You caught him a little bit high a little bit earlier on, but that again, I mean, there's clear footage there that you were actually going for the ball. But were you concerned when that happened that the referee was going to come over and have a word? Because the high tackle has been such a focal point of what they've been talking about this year.
No, not really, to be honest. Like I heard people kind of going on about it, but to be honest, if you're going on about that, you're really clutching at straws. Like I seen the footage, sure. Like I'm clear as day going for the ball. Like I think it's my wrist that touches off his helmet. I'm not looking at Richie, I'm looking at the ball. So like I'm competing for the ball. There's a big difference.
Yeah, fair enough. And in the other one, obviously, you're actually getting out of the way, and that's when Richie catches you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What was the immediate aftermath in half time? What's said at that point when you are a man up to make sure that you're clearly going to benefit from this? Because obviously you'd come through the semi-final where you'd gone down a man and it actually turned the game around against Wexford, so clearly it's not a straight thing that, okay, we're a man up here, we're obviously going to just coast home now.
Yeah, like it is a tricky one. You can really fall into a trap and get comfortable. Like the last thing you want to do is get comfortable, especially against a team like Kilkenny, because they're ruthless and they will bury you. So it's literally sticking to your game plan and sticking to the process of what you're doing. Like it's great having a free man, but like if you start getting anyway complacent, like it can come against you massively. So that was all. Like the talk at half time was literally, let's not fall into the trap now, lads, of getting complacent or anything like that. Let's stick to our process and keep working moment by moment.
Yeah, so there's a calmness at half-time then, is there? I think the Niall Maher goal probably helps bring a bit of calmness in the fact that you're suddenly in front from early on. It looked like Kilkenny were, they'd got the foothold in the game, whatever it was, 8-3, they'd started well and you guys had been taking your time to get into the game.
Yeah, look, there was a calmness, but like obviously, I don't think we would have been massively happy with how we started the game. As you said, like I thought we were a bit slow to get into it in the first 10 minutes. As you said, Kilkenny went 8-3 ahead, and like they will punish you if you make mistakes. And we made a couple of mistakes even in the backs. Like our forwards made a couple of mistakes, and they will punish you. But like there was calmness at half time, but like we wouldn't have been happy with how we were in the first half. Like we set our standards very high, and we have our goals, and we just try to hit them.
Just thinking back earlier on in the year, we'd Bonner Maher on with us a little bit earlier on. He did his cruciate. You did your hamstring that same day, and it looked like you were going to be out for quite a while, but actually you made it back really quickly. There was definitely a sense that if both of you had gone out for a significant period of time, that maybe this Tipperary team weren't going to be able to fully deliver on their potential. When you think back to that point now, did you know straight away you were going to get back quite quickly, or was that kind of a worrying few days for you?
No, obviously, look, you're very worried. Like there was not more than missing a match. But look, there was no point me dwelling on really. Like the following day, like I linked up with Carver, our strength and conditioning coach, who's been absolutely amazing with us. And like every day, if I needed him, he'd be there. And I just worked my socks off to get back as quick as I could, to be honest.
Carl, just on Liam Sheedy, obviously everybody's been speaking about him in glowing terms naturally over the last 24 hours. For you personally, what has his return as Tipperary manager done for you as a hurler?
Massive. Look, as I said earlier on, like Liam Sheedy, I think is the engine in our dressing room. Like he absolutely drives our standards, and look, he sets high goals and sets high standards. But he'll ensure for him to be the best of what he does. He'll make sure you're the best of what you do, and he'll bring in the best people around, and he will just try to get you there. He'll leave no stone unturned, and he'll facilitate any needs right at all. Like that's what he does. He's an absolute driver, and just there's nothing else you could say about him. Like the man, in fairness, is remarkable. Like.
Carl, what's the plan for today?
The plan, I think, is I might get an hour's sleep and then we'll go to Crumlin Hostel then, and then head back down the road and see the fans in Tipp. Hopefully it'll be a good turnout for the lads.
I've no doubt it will be. Carl, congratulations. Enjoy the hours, Kip, and the rest of what's coming over the next couple of weeks. Thanks a million for joining us.
Thanks a million, lads. Cheers. Thanks a lot.
It's Cathal Barrett there giving us some immediate response to a big 24 hours for him.